Recording in progress.
Awesome.
Call to order the regular meeting of the Rio Dell City Council. Roll call, please.
Mayor Garnes.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Carter.
Here.
Councilmember Orr.
Here.
Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
Councilmember Woodall.
Excuse me. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public presentations. This is the time for persons who wish to address the council on any matter not on this agenda and over which the council has jurisdiction. As such, a dialogue with the council or staff is not allowed under the Ralph M. Brown Act. Items requiring council actions not listed on this agenda may be placed on the next regular agenda for consideration if the council directs, unless a finding is made by at least 2/3 of the council that the item came up after the agenda was posted and is of urgency nature requiring immediate action. Please limit comments to 3 minutes. Rich, got anything? No.
Can't change perfection.
That's true. Say that every meeting. Any emails, Karen? No. We'll close public presentations and move to the consent calendar. Is there any item that a council member wishes to remove from the consent calendar? Anything? Any emails, any hands raised? Nope. Staff. Then I will call for a motion to approve the consent calendar. So moved. Oh, we have a motion, is there a second? Second. We have a motion and a second, please vote. Motion carries 4-0. Staff communications, city manager, page 33 in our packets.
Thank you, Mayor Garnes and members of the council. Staff did attend a meeting of a Redwood regional group that's working on a framework to distribute new economic development and post-COVID-19 recovery funds based on region. So our region would be Lake, Mendocino, Humboldt, and Delaware counties. And then there's the potential of approximately $500 million being distributed amongst the different regions for area projects. So we're continuing to watch that, and I think the mayor's probably going to be participating in one of the committee groups there in terms of making sure that there's an equitable distribution of funding for that. We have continued our conversations with various elected officials regarding earthquake long-term recovery efforts, and later I have a short presentation on 2017 storm damage related activity, and that is pretty much it for the time being. Obviously, we have Wildwood Days coming up, which is exciting. And thank you to Councilmember Carter and Councilmember Woodall for the Community Cleanup Day, helping to organize that and push that forward. So I think that was pretty successful. Other than that, the report is attached to your agenda, and staff is happy to answer any questions that the council may have.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. No questions. Thank you. Councilmember Orr? No question. Councilmember Wilson?
No question.
Rich, got anything? No. Any, hand raise or email? Okay, then, we will close that. Move on to special call items. Item 1, receive staff update on Monument Road Slip Out Project. Page 39 in our packets.
Thank you, Mayor Barnes, members of the council. So this is just a short verbal presentation. I was worried it would be a little bit more just full of disappointing and frustrating news, but we do have some late developments in this particular saga. As the council will recall, back in 2017, we had the winter storms, which were effectively declared disaster, and we had the Monument Road slip out. And it's been a long slog of a process over the ensuing years to get a project approved by FEMA that would ultimately solve the situation on that particular section of Monument Road. The county is the lead on this particular project, and we have had to enlist the support of Congressman Huffman, who we met with a few months ago personally, and kind of brought this into focus for him. And then we've had a lot of support from his staff member, John Driscoll, in advocating to kind of get FEMA to move this particular project forward. I briefed the council in the past that we were concerned about financial exposure to the city, in that what FEMA essentially did is they capped the repair rather arbitrarily and not very fairly at a specific cost. And so this was put out to bid. The bids came back actually pretty favorable. But then there is a final approval process from FEMA that should only take, a matter of a couple of weeks to do. And we were running on the end of really a 60-day period for FEMA to approve it, with the contractor, obviously wanting to conduct work before the winter on repairing that area. And then in the context of inflation putting pressure on the contractor, the project looked like it was in jeopardy to get constructed at all, and that there might have to be another bid, in which case the cost would most likely escalate, not de-escalate. So we did get some recent information that the congressman was successful in getting FEMA to do the approval. At this point, the county is going to be meeting with the contractor and doing the final environmental approval through FEMA, which should take a very short amount of time, apparently. And then we'll see where the contractor's at in terms of getting this work done before the rainy, wet season. But at this point, it's about a 50-50, just because there has been this kind of delay in the approval process. So that's just the update. Again, I was a little bit concerned that the project would have to be put back out to bid. So that's good news, and that's really just the gist of the report.
Thank you.
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Wilson?
No question.
Councilmember Orr?
No questions.
I have no questions. Thank you for all your work on it. City Manager, I know you've been constant, and staff, you've been constantly on with Congressman Huffman and John Driscoll, and we appreciate everything you've done. Are there any questions? Any hands raised? Any emails? Okay, and I think that is, you just needed an update, right? There's no action or anything. Okay. We'll move on to item number 2, authorize mayor to sign correspondence to Governor Newsom related to California Department of General Services purchase of real property in the city of Rio Dell. Page 40 in our package. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor Barnes, members of the council. So we're going to bring this up briefly at our last meeting to kind of provide just an overview of the situation, and I will briefly cover that again. We are hopefully potentially on pace for a record short meeting. Basically, the California Department of General Services has purchased a parcel, an 18-acre parcel formerly known as the Todd property. Basically directly in the center of Rio Dell on the corner of Wildwood Ave or Davis Street and US 101. This is really a key parcel that the city's identified over the years in terms of expanding housing and commercial development opportunity, job creation activities, visitor serving facilities, that sort of thing. In this, and I trust that the council has had adequate time to read the letter, and so I'm not going to go into super detail on each of the points. But certainly, if the council has some edits or changes or suggested additions or anything like that, we're happy to do that. The mayor did. I talked to the mayor earlier today. She did have a recommended addition to the letter, and so I handed that out. And the addition basically kind of reiterates, or not reiterates, but touches back on prior meetings that we've had, the mayor's had with the governor's office back in 2019, along with other mayors and representatives from the Department of Housing and Community Development, discussing housing, which the governor first became governor. His main motive was housing. The main objective was housing. And so, what the mayor was able to convey to the governor at that point in time was the, importance of working together in partnership on these projects, and that Rio Dell wanted to be a part of the solution with that. So we just added that as a potential addition. Happy to try to add anything else or subtract if the council so desires, but otherwise I would leave it to the council members to provide input, and then we can figure out what the final draft would look like.
Thank you, City Manager. Councilman Wilson?
What are we actually going to accomplish with this? We're just asking and saying for intervention, and we're going to accomplish it. If Cal Fire says they need 18 acres over 100 years, then they're not going to use that now, but 100 years is a long time, so that's
Yeah, I think, the cheapest and easiest solution for everybody is that, the political pressure is applied to move towards the city's preferred solution, which is not in any way adverse to CAL FIRE. But is saying that there's a way that a large amount of land that could be split into three purposes. And that really at this point, this would be kind of the touchstone in the beginning of that, hopefully, of a conversation as to whether the governor's office would be able to make that happen.
all right. Thank you.
Councilmember Orr? Mayor Rio Dell?
I like the letter. I don't think you should subtract anything. It was hard for me to not, make it way more harshly phrased. But no, you did a really nice job of walking that line. But I think that we've made some excellent points, and every bullet point I read, I'm like, yeah. So no, I think it's great. Don't change it. That's it.
And I appreciate the addition, and that's good of me. Rich, you have anything? You have anything you have raised? Any emails? Then I think I'll call for a motion.
Mayor, just before you call for the motion, just for the record, in case anybody's watching it at home, or watching the video later on down the road. I think I speak for the council when I say that there is, open and potentially, and enthusiastic arms to CAL FIRE coming to Rio Dell. And so the letter should not be in any way construed as being anti-CAL FIRE as an agency or their mission or anything even remotely like that. It is about just the efficient use of the land to serve multiple purposes, not just one very important one. So I just wanted to, make sure that that's on the record for anybody, watching this.
No, absolutely, absolutely, because that is absolutely a true statement that there's more than one way to do this, not just for one person. So I think we can all benefit. You've repeatedly said, you've developed, or the staff has developed a win-win-win situation. And if they can look at that, and if the governor can help us with that, that would be really, really amazing and super helpful to the economic development for the city, for the benefit of the city. So I appreciate the letter. So now I will call for a motion.
I will make the motion to accept this letter.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Motion carries 4-0. I will go for council reports and communications. Councilmember Orr.
Went to HCOG, like forever ago. Talked a lot about the housing problems in the surrounding areas and the requirement to reach those housing levels. I talked a lot about the housing projects up near Arcata, the low to medium income housing projects they're looking at and pushing those forward. Highway Patrol went over a lot of projects that are finishing the 299 project over there in their on-ramp they're going to start working on from the 299 to the 101 in that kind of like danger area there. And then the big thing was, like us with the solar project we talked about, expressing or sending a letter of concern to the wind farm they're looking at about whether it will benefit the local area or bulk profits will just go to some corporation somewhere else, and protecting the waterways there as well. So other than that, it was
Which part, the offshore?
the offshore wind park, the wind farm, what is it, the offshore wind heavy lift multi-purpose marine terminal project in the Humboldt Bay offshore area.
Councilmember Wilson.
Not a lot, but there is an HWMA meeting. I got a message today that they normally skip the one in August, but because last one, there wasn't a quorum, they're gonna do one in August if they have a quorum, but they were supposed to be today. I plan to go to that, so yeah, that's really all I have.
And Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, well, as the city manager mentioned, we did have a volunteer cleanup day this past Saturday. I thought that it went really well. We had good community engagement. We had kids show up, adults, basically all ages. It was really nice. We did pick up a good amount of trash. Found one kitten that we were able to get to the shelter through the Rio Dell Police Department, so that is lovely also. We named him Garbage. Let's see, I have a chamber meeting this coming Friday that I think will just be all Wildwood Days. I also went to a REDEC meeting, not a ton to report there, except that I did just push Wildwood Days on all of them. Which leads me to, of course, Wildwood Days this weekend. So, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it is a really big, important deal. I think it is every year, and I think it is this year in particular. The last time the whole town got together at the fire hall, it was not under wonderful circumstances, and this is a chance that we have to really come out for a fun, celebratory thing, and I hope to see everybody there, and I've been just pushing this on everybody who's behind me in the line at Safeway or whatever. For months, people ask me, how do we help Rio Dell? How do we help Rio Dell? And my answer is, come down here, be part of our community, come cheer for us, come buy a waffle, come down here. and visit us and help us celebrate with us. So I'm all dressed up already, we're ready to go, Wilder Days. That's it.
That's it, nice. Okay, and, I, have an HTA meeting tomorrow morning. And on the 18th, there is Cal Cities League Division meeting. And it's being held in Fortuna, so everyone, feel free to, come hang out and, hang out and network with the Cal Cities people.
That's a good speaker this time.
Yeah.
It's the president, right? Yeah,
The president of the league will be our keynote speaker for the meeting this time, so that should be very interesting. I also want to push Wildwood Days. Anyone who's listening, as the Mayor Pro Tem said, everyone has constantly since December said, what can they do? And this is your opportunity to come and do it. Please come celebrate. There's a barbecue on Thursday. Come, you can have ribs. It should be good. There's 13 contestants.
Still don't want Sunday.
Yes, there's a barbecue on Thursday. That's contest, and then on Saturday there's another meal, and I can't remember, but it's in the barbecue range. And then Sunday there's the fireman's barbecue at noon.
Whatever became in the last meeting we talked about honoring
I was just gonna get to that.
okay.
So, and I hope, that was my next thing, is I hope the council will show up around 12:30. We're going to honor the 3 young men, at the fire, just before the auction on Sunday afternoon. The auction's at 1, and we will, do the presentation at, between 12:30 and 12:45, so. We look forward to it. We're excited about it, but I don't want anyone to lose bets on how quickly this meeting can get over with. So, hey, I'm calling for adjournment. Is there a motion?
Motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second? All right, motion and a second. Meeting adjourned.